Whether you're running for your life in Minecraft Manhunt, protecting your base from mobs and other players, or just wanting to prank your friends, a Quicksand Parkour trap is a great way to get results. What's up guys, my name is WhoGnu, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to make your very own Quicksand Parkour trap. So how does the Quicksand Parkour trap work? Well, let's use the example of Minecraft Manhunt. Your friends are chasing you and trying to kill you before you can beat the game. Now, you've built this trap, and as they're chasing you, you run over here and quickly parkour your way across. Your friends, not realizing that you had tampered with the sand, will just run along and, not noticing the quicksand, jump straight into it and get stuck. While they're stuck, you can either shoot them with a bow or jump down and attack them with your sword while you have the advantage. Now let's say your friends notice the quicksand and realize what it is. It'll take them long enough to figure out the pattern of the parkour that you set out that you'll still be able to get an advantage either by escaping or by attacking them while they look for the next jump. Now this example is pretty short. It only has one jump, but you can make this quicksand trap as big as you want with as many parkour jumps as you desire in order to get the best advantage possible. So the whole point of the trap is that while your friends get stuck in the quicksand either by not noticing it or by failing on the parkour, you can get away or kill them quickly. And now that you understand the whole idea of the quicksand trap, I'm going to show you how to make your very own. I'm going to come over here and I'm just going to do mine on an 8x8 grid. So first off, you're going to mark out the perimeter of the area that you want to be quicksand, and then you're going to leave a few blocks to be parkour jumps. Now you can make these as far apart as you want, as long as you can make the jump, it'll work. And once you have the jumps marked off, you want to dig down to 3 layers deep. And now's the time to test to make sure your jumps are actually good. If you don't like them, you can easily change them just by coming in and replacing or moving the column. Now you've completed step 1. In this picture you can see what the completed step 1 looked like for the well example from the beginning of the video. Now for step 2. You're going to place a layer of soul sand across the bottom of the pit. Now that you have the layer of soul sand across the bottom, we're going to put a layer of water on top of that. Now the best way, rather than going across the side like this, the source blocks are only exactly where you place the water. But if instead of doing that, you run along a diagonal like this, then the water will fill itself out except for, around the pillars or whatever. But this is because if you have them on the side like this, it's just going to flow. If you put it at a diagonal, they'll run into each other and make more source blocks that will then run into the next source blocks. So this is a picture of the completed step 2 of the well example. And now we're going to move on to step 3. We're going to place cobwebs across this whole top layer like this. And you want to make sure you get everywhere above the water. There you go, that is step 3. And here's a picture of the well example with step 3 all completed. And now comes the final step. We're going to place a layer of sand on top of all of the cobwebs, just like this. And it's totally fine if you fill in the spots above the parkour jumps, because later when we remove this sand, you'll be able to find them really easily. Now you're going to put a second layer of sand above the entire trap. And this is because to sink into the cobwebs, it needs to drop from at least 1 block's height, rather than when we placed it directly on it, it just kind of sat there. So now that you have the second layer all finished, we're just going to go along and break out all of the bottom level. And as you can see, the sand is already beginning to sink into the cobwebs. Eventually that will level out with the same level as the sand we're walking on right now. Now, as the quicksand levels out, you can see that the parkour jumps are still covered in that layer of sand. Just mind that so it's not as obvious. And there you go. You have now completed the quicksand parkour trap. You can decorate it up with cactuses or whatever to try and disguise it with the rest of the desert. And if we jump in, you can see that yes, you sink all the way to the bottom. Now there are a couple things you need to note before you go. Since this is basically powered by bubble elevators or bubble streams, you can make it more than 3 blocks deep. All that matters is that you have at least 1 block in order to get the bubbles. The next thing is that since it does work on bubble streams, you can use any sort of gravity block that you want. So I use sand here because it blends in with the environment. And say you're in like a city or something like that, you could use concrete powder and say it's wet concrete that you got stuck in. Or you can technically make it in any biome that you want, but there are definitely some that work better than others. I think the desert works best because the quicksand is pretty much the same color as the regular sand, and it blends in pretty well, especially if you're moving quickly. While mesa biomes also work well for quicksand traps, they're not as effective because the white of the cobwebs really stands out against the orange of the red sand, and so people that you're trying to trap will most likely notice it and avoid it. While the quicksand really fits the theme of a jungle biome, it's not going to surprise anybody since sand doesn't naturally spawn here. But if you're a builder, you can definitely play it off as one of, just a decoration or something, but then also have it be a secret trap, perhaps guarding your base or something like that, as well as just adding some cool detail to the environment. And with that said, our video comes to an end. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like and comment. Also consider subscribing. It's free and it really means a lot to me. Comment to let me know what sort of tutorials I should do in the future, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!